Hello from Jonathan and from me. Welcome to the programme.
Now first tonight, the growing fears that the search for two men missing after a shooting trip in Northamptonshire will end in tragedy.
The men were out yesterday evening at Brightwell's lake near Ringstead. It's thought they may have gone into the water after a dog.
Well, in the last hour, it's been reported that a body has been recovered. Our reporter Matthew Hudson's been at the lake throughout the day. Matt, the latest developments certainly don't sound good.
Indeed, Jonathan, it's the news that everyone's been dreading, I think, and I should stress this hasn't been confirmed by Northamptonshire Police, but we are now getting reports that one body has been recovered from the lake, and I have to say that would certainly tally with activity that we saw down there a little while ago. It would seem almost for certain now that this has turned into simply a dreadful, dreadful tragedy. In other circumstances, it would look like an idyllic winter scene. But today, the normally tranquil waters of Brightwell's lake near Ringstead are the scene of tragedy. Two men lost after apparently trying to rescue their dog from the icy waters while out shooting.
Well, obviously, they're very challenging weather conditions for us. And obviously the divers are having to spend limited time in the water because of the severe cold, etc. And it's obviously quite a difficult site for us to actually access. But as I say, we're overcoming all of that and doing what we possibly can for the family.
The 30-year-old Paul Litchfield and his 42-year-old friend Philip Surridge were last seen yesterday afternoon. The emergency services were called after their dog was found safe and well next to their empty Renault vehicle. Last night, underwater experts from the fire service tried to search the lake in appalling conditions. Today, the local police helicopter was able to use clearer skies to join in the search. Distraught family and friends also joined officers today, but were too upset to talk to the media. Police say personal effects found on the bank indicated where the men may have entered the water. Once again, it is extremely cold here today. The snow is still thick on the ground. In places, it's hard to see where the shoreline ends and the lake begins. The temperature of the water must be equally freezing. The chances of anyone spending any significant period of time in there and coming out alive must be extremely small. Meanwhile, just 15 miles away near the market town of Anglia, searches are still continuing for another man who's believed to have gone missing in freezing water. Local man 49-year-old Nicholas Hornsby was last seen by a fisherman near the River Nene last Wednesday. He disappeared almost exactly a year after Anglia woman Gillian Merrick went missing. Her body was found in the river several weeks later. The emergency services are urging the public to stay well away from lakes or rivers while the current freezing conditions continue.
Matt, this is terribly sad. What's the message from police tonight?
They just want to stress that last point, that rivers and lakes may be beauty spots at other times of the year, but at the moment they are potential death traps. They're warning anyone with dogs, anyone who enjoys walking, to stay away from them in their own interest, and perhaps most importantly, to reinforce that message to children who are out playing at the moment.
OK, thanks, Matt. There were more cancellations and delays affecting thousands of passengers at Luton Airport after snow and freezing temperatures hit again overnight.
Meanwhile, in the village of Caddington in Bedfordshire, hundreds of people still remain without gas more than 3 days after they were cut off. Emma Baker reports now on another day of disruption.
First thing this morning, and an unusually quiet scene at Luton. The airport reopened at 6:30, but disruption was the order of the day, with EasyJet cancelling all but 2 of its morning departures.
We're doing everything we can to help as many people as we can, but it's going to take us a few days to catch up, so we're not able to guarantee getting everyone home, but we're doing our best to get everyone home as quickly as possible, but flights are very, very full.
As the day went on, more travellers arrived, desperate to make it to their Christmas destinations.
See how it goes, I don't know. Until I go in there, I don't know what's happening.
I just followed the instructions online and we'll see. Failing that, I'll just have to go back home and I won't see my family for Christmas.
EasyJet flights have now started to return to normal here this afternoon at Luton. The company has also put on 2 extra return flights to Paris, which will leave today in an attempt to try and clear some of the backlog. The heavy snow had brought chaos to last night's rush hour. This was the A505 near Luton at 9 o'clock yesterday evening. Over in Caddington in Bedfordshire, many homes were spending a fourth day without gas as engineers continued fixing a water leak. To make matters worse, there were yet more problems with some people's electricity.
Till the electricity went off, it wasn't too bad, but when we lost both of them, it was pretty bad last night, all through the night and this morning.
For us, it went back on at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we've got no heat today now because we've got storage heating, so we're going home to a very cold house tonight.
EDF say they're working to fix the electricity problems. Meanwhile, engineers from the National Grid say they're working as fast as they can to get everyone's gas back. Helpers have been working around the clock in the social club to keep people warm. Many desperately hoping the problems will be resolved this side of Christmas.
I bet they are. Well, our correspondent Emma Baker is in Caddington for us tonight. So, Emma, what's the latest?
Well, Becky, I can tell you throughout the day more and more people have been reconnected back to their gas supply. As it stands, 800 people are now back onto their gas. National Grid are hoping that'll be 900 by the end of the evening. Of course, that still leaves 400 people spending a fourth night without their gas, but National Grid are saying they're working throughout the night, as you can probably see me behind me, to try and make sure they reconnect people tomorrow and into Christmas Eve. They are hoping to have this all finished by Christmas Eve. I should just mention that the community spirit here in Caddington has been absolutely fantastic. Behind me in the social club, lots of people spending another evening drinking some warm food, drinking some warm drinks and having some hot food. Everyone pitching in to try and make sure people stay as warm as possible in this bitterly cold weather.
That's good to hear. Thank you, Emma. Next tonight, shocking story. It's bad enough when your taxi breaks down on a snowy night on the way back from a Christmas party. But imagine one Norfolk couple's horror when they got out to help push and the cabbie just drove off.
You couldn't really make it up, could you? Yes, the taxi firm says the driver didn't want to risk his passengers' safety. Malcolm Robertson takes up the story.
They may have been enjoying the snow today, but Holly and Charlie Fitzpatrick certainly didn't appreciate the wintry weather on Friday night, nor the actions of a local taxi driver. They were at a Christmas party at Barnham Broom Hotel, an isolated location 10 miles from Norwich, and had pre-booked a cab with Gold Star taxis, who are based on the edge of the city. Today they told me how the driver picked them up, got stuck in heavy snow, and how they got out to push him.
Took a little while and then he started going, and then didn't slow down. And then he drove off and left us. We did try and catch up with him at first because we thought, well, hang on a minute, what's going on? But then, yeah, he just drove off and left us in the middle of nowhere.
On a lonely road, in a blizzard, and with Holly wearing just a party dress. Gold Star declined to be interviewed on camera, but their controller told me that the driver involved on Friday was concerned about the welfare of his passengers and decided to drive off rather than risk their safety. He was in a rear-wheel drive vehicle which proved inadequate in the conditions. The taxi firm said they offered to send out another taxi, a front-wheel drive one, but they admitted that that would take some 35 to 40 minutes to arrive. Controller Michael Gooch said the decision is down to the driver. He has a duty of care to his passengers. I can't force him to do something he's uncomfortable with. But the couple insist the firm didn't offer to send another car.
If he was worried about passenger safety, he'd have come back for us.
Or waited with us.
The Fitzpatricks did eventually get a lift, thanks ironically to an off-duty taxi driver who saw them freezing at the side of the road and took them home to Norwich. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News.
Where's the Christmas spirit, eh?
I know. Not surprising they tried to catch up. It's been freezing out there.
Well, still to come tonight.